demonstrations paid off. President Hosni Mubarak was forced to step down, ushering in a new era in Egypt's history. But for many of the anti-government protesters, the fight is far from over. In our next report, we meet a young man who took part in the revolution. He was badly injured during the protests and came back to Germany for treatment. He's still recovering from the wounds he suffered in clashes with security forces. But he says he wants to return to his home country and hopes that a new government will make good on its promises for reform.
Whenever Mosaab Elshaer crosses a bridge in Berlin, he's reminded of a life-changing event. On January 28th, he was in a group of demonstrators that went over a bridge to Cairo's Tahrir Square. Security forces opened fire on them. Mosaab was seriously injured and brought to Germany for treatment.
That bridge changed my life completely. After I was shot, I lay unconscious on the ground. Then the soldiers beat us mercilessly. People were dying everywhere. I have 200 splinters in my body. If I hadn't protected my head with my arms, it would be full of them too.
Some 850 people were killed during the protests and thousands more were injured.
I think the prosecution of Mubarak and those responsible for shooting defenseless demonstrators is the only thing that will placate the population. When they face a court, the people will feel that real change and democracy are beginning to happen in the country.
Mosaab is campaigning for change in his homeland from Berlin. On his Facebook page, he posts his blog about current developments and gives regular interviews to Egyptian TV stations and newspapers. For him, the revolution is not yet complete.
We must regard ourselves as one unified Egypt, regardless of religion, ideology, or political beliefs. We must go together towards a common goal: freedom, change, and social justice.
Mosaab doesn't want to stay in Germany. As soon as he's fully recovered from his injuries, he intends to return to Egypt.
I'd like to go home as soon as possible, and I hope Egypt has changed. It would be painful to find the country just as it was when I left.
Mosaab is seeking a strong, democratic Egypt that guarantees freedom and equality for present and future generations.
And that's been our in-depth